What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in again. I'm here today with another college superstar, today with Nicole Ortiz from the Life University Women's Lacrosse team, but also from the Mexican Lacrosse national team, which is pretty amazing. Congratulations on that again.
Thank you, Rami.
Today we're going to speak a little bit about her success as a college athlete, playing for the national team, and maybe you can learn how to become successful as a college athlete as well. To start this interview off, how does it feel like to represent your country in your sport?
Oof. I think, in my opinion, it's one of the best feelings you can ever feel, ever. Because it's like you grow up with such, especially being Mexican, growing up Mexican, we grow up with such like big culture. We love our culture. We are very expressive about our culture, and actually being able to go and represent Mexico in such a big like stage is just like the best feeling in the world, because not only am I representing my country, but I'm representing my mom, my family, and my sister. So I think it's the best feeling. I would, if I could relive that moment again, I would 10 times, would do it so many times.
How did you first get into the national team? Because at least in soccer, it's not that common that someone in college represents the national team. So how did that work for you?
So it was actually a really long process. This was before, so this started during COVID time. So we were actually supposed to play in the Pan Americans, or I was supposed to play in the Pan Americans in like 2019, I believe. But COVID hit, so it shut down everything. So we had to, our coach actually decided to pull us out of the tournament just because COVID was still going around. It was still relatively like really new, and she didn't want to risk anyone getting sick. So once everything got shut down, it got to like virtual tryouts. So we were supposed to send in a lot of film of us and how we play, and during the time I was in high school, so I had to send in my high school highlights. And but also, like, once you got through that process, the second step was she would send us videos, and then we would have to actually do like fitness like things with her, and then just record ourselves. So it'd be like agility, footwork, and then shooting drills, and we would have to send all that. And it's just it was just really to show how committed we were, even through it being such a hard process, especially through it being all online. And then once everything was reopened again, and once like Mexico opened their borders back up, we actually had our tryout in Mexico City. So which was funny was because I was in season during that time. So this was last year, so I was in season, and it was like we had a game during that time, but I was so committed to go play. I was like, no, I want to go try out. Like, I need to. This is gonna be such a good experience. And I actually ended up getting punished for going to try out. I missed a game and I missed a practice. So when I came back, I had to miss another game. They sent me a game.
Missing another game was a punishment?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I had to, because my first commitment is here at Life, and like obviously leaving to go try for another team, it's like I have to. It's what we signed up for. But they were very supportive about it, but they were like, we have to do this deal. I was like, oh, fine, whatever. But I would, like I said, I would do it over again. So, but yeah, it was, once we tried out, it was a lot of girls. Like, it was, I was shaking. I was like, oh my God. It was like, oh God, like, what am I gonna do? But it was an experience, because I was like since COVID started. Yeah, so it was a pretty long process.
No, I bet. I can absolutely imagine that feeling that you had when you go there to a tryout. Even though I've never tried out for a national team or something, I know exactly what like a tryout feels like. And it's funny because the Juventus camp is going on campus right now.
I see that.
For soccer, and I'm seeing like all these 13, 14-year-old boys just playing, and while I was just there and looked at it, and it felt so much like when I did these kind of tryouts when I was a child, like trying out for professional academy teams, and there's so many people from all over the country, and they're like,
yes,
and you're thinking like, yo. But now looking at it from the outside, I'm thinking there's no reason to be that nervous actually, because everyone is just feeling the same, and which actually makes it easier to shine for you.
Yes, it is.
Do you have any advice for people who are going to try out? How do you present yourself?
Honestly, just like do your thing. Like, that's what I said. I do what it takes. If you really want to do it, go do it. Like, like I said, they sat me down or they sat me back a game, and I actually had to run and do sprints for missing a game. But like I said, I would do it over and over again, because once you take these risks, you get such a beautiful experience from it. Like from the World Cup, oh my God, if I could, like I said, that was one of the best moments of my life. And it was, if it wasn't for me missing that one game or missing that practice or having to run those extra sprints just for me to go try out, I wouldn't have that experience that I had now. And like I said, like anyone going into a tryout, the best thing you can do is just do your thing. It's so normal to be scared. It's so normal to be nervous. Like that's part of what taking a risk is. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the next step, but that's the point. And just doing your thing is really...
Yeah, I think it's also important to acknowledge that you and everyone else in the room or in the field is nervous. But what makes you courageous is to accept that and still do what you want to do and just represent yourself. I think that's a major thing. I just read about it actually. Another question that I would have for you is, so you, in the beginning of it, you kind of said when you represent your country, you also represent your family and stuff. Is that like your why behind everything, or do you have a why behind it?
That is literally my why for everything. Like I grew up with a single mother, so and plus I'm first generation here, so she came illegally here and like had to start from the bottom. Like she cleaned houses, like there was a point where we were homeless and she lived under a bridge, and like she did the absolute everything for me and for my sister. If everyone who knows my mom knows that she is like oh my God, she's the most supportive lady in the world. Coming from that background and seeing all the struggles that she went through and all the things that she had to face just to, have me and my sister have the future that we have, or to give us the future that, she wants us to have, is just like, how can you not recognize something like that? And so when, like you said, everything that I do, I always incorporate my mom with everything. Like in my lacrosse stick, I have her initial on my stick. When I play, I always like say a prayer and like always pray that my mom is always like, that I feel the presence of my mom every time I'm playing. At the World Cup, like there was this necklace that she gave me when I was a baby. I always wear, even though it doesn't fit me anymore, like I still put it in my sock when I play. And I always do everything for my mom.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Shout out to all the single moms, because my mom has also raised me alone, so I can relate to that. I also, a big part of what I want to do is because I want to do it to give to my mom back, because she also did a lot for me, like raising me during my whole childhood and even now. So a lot of it is I want to achieve something to give back to her, to give her a life that is better than what we had. So big motivator, and it's like fuel inside of you. In regards to your sport, so you have experience in the national team, you have experience in the college team. If you compare both of these, what do you think is something that is very similar to each other? What do you think is like, okay, national team, you can definitely tell a difference there?
Oof, there's such a big difference when it comes to both teams. Like I mean, the thing is that I have fun on both teams. In competition wise, obviously it's harder on the national team. It's like when I played in the World Cup, it's like I went up against a girl on the draw, and it was like she was an All-American D1 player, and it was like, oh my God, like I'm like literally standing right next to her. She's a normal human being, and I'm just like, I'm fangirling while I'm talking. I'm there, I'm like, oh my God, like it's her, and that's the thing, like it's such a big difference, but it's also super competitive here as well. Like a lot of people underestimate how competitive the NAIA is, like, but I would say like the bonds as well, like since here, like we're like actually supposed to be with each other every single day, like we grow more and we know more about each other, and we like are able to actually hang out with each other. As in for the Mexico team, it's like it's harder because everyone lives everywhere, like like different places, and the only time we see each other is when we go to training camps or when we go to play.
Yeah, I think a big part for that point competition is that in college you have the factor of, okay, that's the foundation of everything. If you don't perform in college, you won't even get into the national team. And if you don't perform in college, your scholarship might get in trouble and that stuff. Whereas in the national team that's like the dream, that's like the addition, the top of the cake and everything. So like you have that's what everyone wants. So I guess that is some sort of the difference.
You're right, that is a big one.
But you know what I also like about your story is that it wasn't all just from here to national team. You also had a big injury, and you played through that and everything.
Yes.
That is pretty remarkable.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit how that was?
Yeah, so my first injury was in high school. I tore my ACL, and when I tore my ACL, obviously your knee's never really the same. But I mean, I pushed through it, so I was like, fine, you know, I'm okay. And then hit my freshman year of college, and I was like, experiencing knee pain again. I was like, crap, what's going on? I was like, all right. But that's the thing about me is I'm very stubborn. So like, if I feel an injury, I'm fine, I'm okay. But I kept noticing that it kept hurting more, you know. But then it was until I played in the World Cup, and it was the game against Hong Kong that I was like, oh shoot. Like, I did a really hard pivot and I went straight to the ground. And I was like, well, that's weird. And so I tried getting right back up, and I did, but I fell again. And so my physio was just like, come out, like, we'll get you out. So they got me out. And actually, no, this is a game against Germany. Sorry.
Against Germany?
Yes, against Germany.
No way.
Yes, this is against your people.
Always
so,
Germans.
yes, it was against Germany. And so actually, our physio wasn't there. So the German physio came and looked at me, and she was like, oh my God, girl, you cannot play. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And she goes, I'm going to show you. And so she does like the meniscus test, and she was like, girl, that is torn. And I was like,
yo.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh snap. But I was like, whatever, it's cool, you know, I'll just sit out for a bit. But the thing is that.
So wait, the German physio told you the meniscus is torn, and you were like, I'm just gonna sit out and then I'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then it's because then I'm in the World Cup. I don't have time to waste. You know, I want to play. You know, and then the next day was when we played against Hong Kong, and that was our last game. So I was like, I told my physio, I said, do whatever you can, wrap this up like 3 times, as much tape. I don't care what you have to do, but I'm playing. She was like, are you sure? She's like, this is a risk because, you know, you can injure something else in your knee. I was like, you know what? This is a risk I'm willing to take. Just tape it up. And I kid you not, that was the best game I played in the World Cup.
No way.
Yes, I scored a hat trick that game. Like, I went. Yeah, it was insane. After that, I was able to heal, and they did see that it was something more like meniscus, but they weren't sure if it was torn. And so I just was like, you know what? I'm going to recover. Like, that was almost a month that we were over there, and it was like a lot. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna recover, I'm gonna rest up, I'm gonna do some therapy. And I did, and I felt better until the first scrimmage of the spring season. Again, I went down again, and then this time they did say it was a meniscus tear, lateral meniscus tear, and I had scar tissue. I had 2.5 centimeter scar tissue in front of my ACL. Yeah, but I was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm playing through it the entire season, and I played through it the entire season. But I ended up injuring this knee.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Right.
So because of too much
compensate.
And so they found 4 bone bruises in my knee, and then I had patellar tendonitis on my knee. And I just decided I'm not gonna get surgery until next year.
Oh, okay. That would have been my question. So why is that?
I just feel like it's because the meniscus tear is not as big, so it's a small tear. And we talked to the doctor here, and he was like, honestly, it could really be muscle imbalance. Like, he looked at my quad muscles and he said, your right quad is way bigger than your other one. So he was like, well, if there's no pain, then, you know, and it's just unstable, it's really your muscle. Like, it's just, if you have a small muscle here and a huge muscle there, then he was like, what do you expect? And I was like, that is 100% true. It's like, so I said, I'm going to wait it out, but I did mention if this one is torn, I'm going to get surgery because this one does have pain. So they got it. I got the MRI and it comes out good. Thank God it wasn't a meniscus tear. Okay. But it was like, I was like, well, I think I'm just going to hit the gym a lot, bulk up a little bit, make sure that like my quads are balanced. in muscle size, and then from there we really determine if that really is a problem, because you don't really need to get surgery for meniscus tear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can, that's not something that's mandatory, as in like for ACL surgery, that it's mandatory. But I think that's what I'm gonna do first, and then in the summer of next year, when I absolutely don't have anything at all, I'm going to get my surgery.
What is the biggest lesson you've learned in your life?
Ooh, that's a good one that you say, because it's recent. I recently learned that for me to be happy, I have to hurt people's feelings. You know, not like intentionally. No. Listen. Not intentionally. Like sometimes the things that you need to do for you are going to make other people upset.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I 100% knew what you mean.
I'm over here like, no, you have to hurt other people. No, it's like you have to put yourself first, because I was so used to putting other people before me, putting other people's feelings before myself, and it like really like was messing me up so much, because I was just like, crap, like I need to do what I need to do to make them feel okay, but then at the end it would make me feel bad, you know? And so I learned to really prioritize myself and my feelings, and really put myself first, prioritize myself first, even if it meant it had to affect other people. So I think that is a big lesson that I've learned, and it's been recent, but I really, like I said, I am genuinely happy, and I'm really glad I can say that now.
Yeah, there is a major lesson I think everyone goes through at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely understand what you mean. You have to make sure you're in harmony with yourself, because if you always put others first and you're at war with yourself, as you say, then it's just difficult to help others again.
Right.
Because I believe that a big part of life is to help others, to inspire others. For every person it's a little bit different. But in order to do that, I completely agree with you. You have to put yourself first in certain situations, so that you're in harmony with yourself, and you can do whatever your purpose is. So great point. All right, I mean that would be everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate it. Thank you for your
Thank
time, and I hope you guys got something out of it. As always, if you're ready to bring your game to the next level and you want to come to college, definitely hit me up. My website is linked down below. My contact information are linked down below. I will link her Instagram down below, so check that out as well. And thank you for tuning in. I hope to hear from you soon. See you next time.
Bye.